Good afternoon to one and all. Today, on behalf of Sharjah Prevention and Safety Authority, we organize this Instagram Live. The topic for today will be heat stress. According to the Ministerial Law 365, from June 15th to September 15th, that is today, we are liable and we are compelled to do a practice of giving midday breaks for the employees from 12:30 p.m. to 3 p.m. So, as a remembrance for this Ministerial Law 365, we organized this training. It is 12 p.m. in Sharjah and it's 40 degrees centigrade. The humidity is at 16% and the wind is 8 km per hour. Wish you all a very warm good afternoon. So let's start the training with the explanation of my work and my office. My name is Sangeet. I am the HSCQ trainer for the Sharjah Prevention and Safety Authority. The Sharjah Prevention and Safety Authority was established in 2014 by His Highness Sheikh Dr. Sultan bin Muhammad Al-Qasimi, member of Supreme Council and ruler of Sharjah. We started our operation widely in the recent years and we have been strong since then. We are doing inspection operations. We are providing safety and security to the whole emirate of Sharjah. Now today we will deal about occupational safety and health. Occupational safety and health is something that deals with the science that cares for safety and health of human being by providing safe working environment free from accidents, injuries and occupational hazards. So when we say hazards, we need to explain what is hazard. Hazard is something that can cause harm for you. Anything that can cause harm for you can be described as hazard, including the heat that we are finding today, 40 degrees centigrade, it can be a hazard for you. So we will discuss about different hazards first, then we will go to the specific hazard we are aiming today. So according to international body called OSHA, they have divided the different hazards into 6 categories. So we'll discuss the 6 categories first. First one is the chemical hazard. Chemical hazard is something that is caused by chemicals that you use daily in your life. Knowing or unknowingly, you use more than 100 chemicals per day. Let's say it can be your shoe polish, the shampoo, the hair oil, the hair gel, the nail polish, the perfumes that you use, all these are chemicals. The things that we eat also have chemicals in them. The soft drinks, even the water we drink is a chemical. So when we talk about hazards of chemical, we need to talk about some specific chemical that can cause hazard for you. Let's say it can be an acid, it can be a poisonous cleaning equipment, etc. Let's talk about a chemical that became famous during this time. It's none other than your hand sanitizer. We use it now and then through the life cycle. We use it frequently, and recently we have been using it more frequently because of the COVID-19 pandemic situation that we have. We all know that it helps in disinfecting your hand or cleaning your hand, but there are some dark sides for it. Do you know that if you sanitize your hand using an alcohol-based sanitizer before eating food, it can cause food poisoning? Did you know that the hand sanitizer that you use contains more than 60% of alcohol in them? And did you know that hand sanitizer that you use, if you use it for a long period, it can cause skin diseases? So all these are the hazards that can be caused by hand sanitizers. When I say flammable, it is more than having a content of 60% of alcohol. So if you sanitize your hand and if you're dealing with a hot substance or something, it can cause injuries. So that is the first hazard that I can explain to you, chemical hazards. Moving on, we have a hazard called ergonomic hazard. Ergonomic hazard deals with your posture, your sitting posture, your standing posture, the posture you work with. It is the relationship between you and your workplace. Let's say I'm sitting on a chair comfortably. This chair is ergonomically designed because I have proper back support, I have proper hand support, and it is having cushion seats. Instead of this chair, my organization gave me a stool. I would not be able to sit here and talk to you for more than 1 hour, nearly 1 hour. So that is what we call ergonomics. It contains repetitive actions also. If you remember the famous Charlie Chaplin movie, there is a movie where he works in a line of work. He's tightening the screw, and he's doing repeated works, and it can cause fatigue to you. So that is what we call ergonomics. Moving on with the third hazard is the physical hazard. Let's say if you're going outside, whatever hazards that can cause harm to you outside is called physical hazard. Let's say when you go outside, we have the heat from the sun, we have the ultraviolet radiations, we have the noise from the car, the vibrations, the intense humidity, the wind. All these are the physical hazards. So today we will talk in detail about physical hazards because we are talking about the heat stress. Let's move on to the next one. It is called safety hazards. Safety hazard is something that you find daily in your life. If you go outside, you're slipping on something, on a spilled water, let's say. You're tripping on a stairs when you're walking down the stairs or up the stairs. You're tripping on a wire in your office. If there's a trailing wire, chance of tripping on it is more. So basically the three terms that is important in safety hazard is slip, trip and fall. Falling from a height can be categorized as safety hazards, the fourth one. Next one, it is called biological hazard. What is biological hazard? We all know that we are going through a biological or virus pandemic that we have right now. So biological hazard deals with the microorganisms, the bacteria, the virus, the fungus, everything. It can be categorized as insanitized place for living. It can be rodents, snakes, etc., cockroaches. So mainly the example which I can give you right now is the COVID-19 virus, that is the biological pandemic that we have right now. Last but not the least, there is a category which is connected to all of these. It is called work organization hazard, or it can be simply said as stress. We know what is stress. We have stress. We have stress from work, from family, stress from money. All these are coming under the work organization hazard. Why it is connected with all other? Because stress can make a big difference. When we take in terms, if we have stress and if you're dealing with chemical, the chance of accidents or chemical spillage is more. When you're walking with more stress, there is a chance of slipping, more accidents. Likewise, if stress is involved, the chance of accidents is more. So that's why it is coming in the middle and it is connected to everything. So as I said, we will discuss about physical hazard which deals with the heat stress. So today the main objective of this training is that to reduce heat stress injuries in our organization, ensure employees' well-being and thus ensure productivity and quality, and last, promote occupational health awareness. In order to do that, we have a list of topics today. We will study what is heat stress, how it is happening, the basic symptoms, how to avoid it, and what are the necessary arrangements that you should do in your organization to get rid of heat stress. So let's discuss about heat stress now. Heat stress is the name given to a number of illnesses that is caused when the body heats up and cannot cool down. Let's say you're going outside and your body is heating up. The natural mechanism of body to cool down is two techniques, two phenomena. First one is sweating, second one is breathing. So when you sweat, the water droplets comes out of your body from your small pores in your body, and when the water evaporates, the body cools down. That is the first mechanism. Second one, you're breathing air. So when you're breathing cool air inside, your internal organs are cooled down and your body is cooled down. So these are the two natural mechanisms of your body to cool down. Due to the heat outside in the Middle East, in UAE, in Sharjah, this mechanism breaks down. How does it breaks down? It is due to the extensive humidity, extensive heat. So body refuses to have sweating. When sweating is broken down, the natural cooling mechanism of your body is lost. That's when we get a series of problems that we call heat stress related diseases. So I hope you understood about heat stress. Now let's look at some statistics in UAE, what happened due to heat stress. In 1936, the National Safety Council reported that 30,000 people have died from heat-related illness. We are talking about UAE, 1936. Outside workers in the UAE are exposed to major heat stress during the summer when temperature rises more than 45 degrees centigrade and humidity exceeds 90%. According to official studies, Abu Dhabi Emirate witnessed 3,017 cases heat-related illness in 2010. So when we have such an amount of cases in 2010, we should guess the amount of cases that we have right now. We have live examples that comes around in all of your facilities. In hospitals, there are heat-related problems in the environment. So moving on, how does the heat source comes? Mainly the major heat source that comes is from the sun. As I told you, today is 40 degrees centigrade and 16% humidity. The second heat source can be from a machinery that you work near with. If you are working near a hot furnace, it can be another heat source. Third one can be heat generated inside your body when you're working. If you have a physical work, there can be heat generated inside your body. That is the third one. And last but not least, there are heat generated inside the workplace if the workplace is not well air conditioned. So that is the sources of heat that you can have. As I told, how does the body lose heat? It's due to the phenomena that happens naturally, the breathing, sweating, and radiation. What is radiation? Let's say a person is going for a jogging, for a running race. If it is your friend and if he comes and sits nearby you, you can feel the heat from his body. The body is radiating heat. That is what we call radiation. And at the end, the atmospheric air also can cool you down. So these are the things that helps you in losing heat. The losing heat can have different factors. It can be the weather. If it's hot weather, obviously the heat exchange is less. Second one, the clothing that you wear. If you have a very thick clothes you wear, obviously the cooling mechanism slows down. The individual, the age, the characteristics, and the health of the person also depends upon the ways to lose body heat. And the last one is work rate. How much work that you do per minute. So now let's look at the big picture. We will compare ourselves with an egg in a pan full of water which is boiling. So let's imagine the situation, the egg in a pan full of water boiling. So there is heat from the stove, there is heat from the water inside of the pan, there is heat from the latent heat or the water vapors, and from the atmosphere also. So this is your situation right now. So how can you make things better? What you can do first of all is take the pan out of the stove. So the heat from the stove is removed. That is one method. Second one, you can replace the hot water inside the pan with the cold water. That is the second method. Third method can be you can place the pan inside a fridge or a cool air conditioned area. That's your third method. And at last, it can be also cooled down from the atmosphere outside. So these are your analogy. So similarly, humans also does these things. What we do when we feel heat, we go to an air-conditioned room or turn on the AC and try to cool down. We drink water. I told about exchanging the hot water. And then at last what we do is we turn on the fan or AC. So these are the cooling mechanisms that we have. So let's look about the symptoms. What are the problems that you face during these times? What are the different kinds of disease or issues that you face during heat stress? So for us, mainly we have 5 different problems. I'll start from the first. The first will be least dangerous, and the last one which I say will be the dangerous one. So the intensity of the problems increases as I go to the next topic. So the first one As you can see, the first one is heat rash. I hope you have experienced this heat rash. Usually if you have a kid, if he goes and play outside in the sun, when he comes back, his face will be red color, and he will be having red patches on his sensitive areas like the neck, the elbows, or the behind the leg, knees. So all these are the symptoms of heat rashes. It is like a red patch that happens in your sensitive areas. So what can you do at this situation? What is the first thing? So we know the symptoms, we know the problem, and now we need a solution for that. The solution, the best thing that you can do is put ice packs on them if they're having heat rashes, the red patches. Ask the person not to scratch it more in order to avoid more allergies, and tell him to remain in a cool place for a long amount of time, and drink enough water and apply moisturizer powder as you like. So these are the first 8 things that you can do for heat rash. The first one. Moving on, we'll go to a much more intensive thing. It is called heat cramps. So when you sweat, there is 2 elements going out of your body. First one will be water, and second one will be the salt. So when you lose excessive of salt from your body, there can be muscle spasms occurring in your muscles, which means the muscles will not be in your control. It will be acting weird. It will be like vibrating. Maybe you have experienced this, and it is very, very painful. So when these muscle spasms happen, we call it heat cramps. Maybe you have heard of normal cramps, but this is due to the excessive losing of heat, so cramps can occur. So that is heat cramps. So symptoms are intensive pain, the muscles acting weird without any control. So these are symptoms. Now the first state. Take the person to a conditioned room in a cool place. Give him intense amount of water. If he's working, give him a break for like 2 or 3 hours, because the heat cramps is not that much intensive issue. It can go off after like 3 hours or 2 hours. Give him a break. Tell him to rest. Drink enough fluids to replenish the salt and the water he lost from the working. If he is he's a patient of pressure, salt is not recommended, so natural juice can be recommended. But if he is a normal person, putting some salt in the fluid or giving him ORS, oral rehydration solution, is a very good first aid tip. So this is your second one. Third one, let's move on to the much more intensive problem, that is heat synchrone. In this case, it will be a situation where when he sits and when he stands up, or when he feels lightheadedness, and then he will faint. So heat synchrone is a fainting episode or dizziness that occurs due with prolonged standing or sudden raising from a sitting or lying position. So that is heat synchrone. In this case, obviously, when he stands up, he will be going to fall down. The thing that you can do is help him. Tell him sit down or lie down on his bed when he has symptoms, and give him slowly drinking water, clear juice, and not a sports beverage. Give him ORS solution, and tell him to rest in a cool place. So this is heat syndrome, the third one. Moving on to a much serious issue. The first symptom, the first red signal, that is heat exhaustion. What is heat exhaustion? So this situation is a bit tricky. In this situation, the person will be sweating a lot because your body is dying to cool down. So all the sweat you can see is sweating like a lot, and your body temperature will be very high. You will be feeling heat, tiredness. You will feel weak, headache. You will feel goosebumps, chills, tingling skin, and increased heart rate and breathing and sweating. So these are your symptoms. So in this situation, the person's eyesight can be blurred. So when you see such symptoms with your working partner or a person that is working near you or your colleague, what you can do is you can help him out. Ask him what is the issue. Take him to a cool down place. Tell him to lay down. Give him sufficient amount of drinking water or rehydration solutions, natural juices. Tell him to rest. and help him to recover from this situation. The best thing, you can ask him to take a cool bath. A cool bath can help your body cool down, and it can help you to recover in a fast pace. The next one, the last one, the most dangerous situation that occurs due to heat stress is heat stroke. It is not ordinary stroke that you see, it is heat stroke. It is very famous because a lot of people die due to the situation in UAE. So this is a serious issue now. So heat strokes happens when the heat exhaustion is not paid attention to. In this situation, he will have hot, dry skin or profusing sweating, which means he will not sweat a lot like the heat exhaustion part, because there is no more water in your body to sweat. He will have high body temperature, hallucination, confusion, dizziness, chills, irregular speech, and very throbbing headache. So these are the situations that a person can get when he is going through heat stroke. So at the end of the day, he will lose consciousness because there is no more water in his body, and his body breaks down and he will faint. So here, in this stage, he will not have consciousness. The first challenge that we have with the person who is not having consciousness is that we cannot give him drinking water. In the other 4 cases, the person is conscious and you can advise him to drink water, but here, drinking water is not an option. So rigorous cooling techniques should be taken, like you can use soak a sponge and keep it on his body, or like a cloth, you can soak the cloth in a cold water and keep it on his body. Pour water all over his body, help him for a shower, or the best thing is rigorously cool his body down in any way, in a cold room or giving him a bath, as I said. And while doing that, contact the emergency professionals, the ambulance, so that they also can arrive at time and give him necessary attention through the situation. So these are your 5 issues that can happen during heat stress. But now we are going through a very bad situation right now. Okay, so for example, let's say I am walking down the road, or I am working in my office, and due to heat stress, I faint. What will happen is that the first aid techniques that I explained to you will be waste, because now it is a time of the pandemic, COVID-19 pandemic. So people can be suspect me for a positive case of COVID-19. So helping me is a challenge. Like if you're helping me, definitely if I have COVID-19, you'll be contracted with the same. So this is a challenge, and identifying the issue, if we have heat stress or COVID-19. So both is an issue. So now at this time, the better option is to call the emergency number and ask the professionals to do help. What I said is just the first aid tips. It's up to you if you want to help a person who is having such a situation. It's not mandatory to help him, but emergency number should be contacted and necessary help should be given to him when he is in the workplace or anywhere. So now let's compare with heat exhaustion and heat stroke, because these are the last 2 things, the last 2 major problems that I explained to you. So first I will enumerate heat exhaustion problems, and then I will enumerate heat stroke problems. So during heat exhaustion, it will be excessive sweating, I told you, cool, pale, clampy skin, nausea or vomiting, rapid weak pulse, and muscle cramps are the symptoms of heat exhaustion. In case of heat stroke, no sweating, body temperature is above 103 degrees centigrade, degree Fahrenheit, red hot dry skin, nausea, vomiting, rapid but strong pulse, and last but not least, he will lose consciousness. So these are the comparison between 2 stages in order for you to understand what is the issue. Is it heat exhaustion or heat stroke? So now the next question, first aid. You can do first aid if you are trained professional or if you have a certificate from international body or local body regarding first aid, CPR, cardiopulmonary resuscitation, CPR. So during this time, if a person faint, first aid is not recommended at the first place, because we don't know what is the issue with the person. So even though if we have a first aid, if you are a first aid authorized person, recommended not to give him first aid or CPR. CPR is not necessary during this condition, because your heart is not stopping working. Now the best thing that you can do is call for emergency. So the number for emergency is 999 for the police and 998 for the ambulance. If you call the police also, they will also respond with the same thing, because all of them are interconnected with each other. Give him proper directions, like use landmarks. For say, if I'm in my office, I will say I'm near University City. So that is the landmark that you can give. And last but not the least, explain to the person who picks your call about the situation. He will be asking you questions. Try to give him proper, clear directions and instructions as you can do. So this is the procedure for emergency calling. Now let's look at the environmental factors. There are 4 types of environmental problems during this. The first one is air temperature. Second is air movement. If wind is more, the chance of cooling down of the body is more. So that's the second one, air movement. Heat from the sun. If it's winter season, the chance of heat stress is less, and during summer season it's more. Last one, moisture and evaporation. Humidity also can prevent you from sweating. So usually we used to have a high humidity during night time, so it can happen during night time too. Personal factors can be age. The newborn infants can be having more risk, and the people who is having more age are liable for high risk. The people coming in between, the adults and adolescents age, are less liable for heat stroke risks. Next one is weight. If a person is very lightweight, and if he is having obesity, both the people are also liable for high risk, and people coming in between, as they are healthy, the people problems are sorted out. And last one is physical effort they take. If they take low effort, less chance of heat stroke, and if he takes high effort tool works, there is more chance of heat related issues. Now it is also a factor that if a person is taking medication, like for example, if he is a heart patient, he will be taking patients will be taking medicines related to heart problems. So taking medicines can also affect the heat related problem, because they are more liable for heat related problems. Now let's look at the responsibilities of everybody. At the broad spectrum, everybody is responsible, but let's look at an organizational view of this problem. The major role is played by the manager of an organization. So she should be doing planning to reduce exposure to the workers, ensure workers are trained, provide light PPEs for all of them, personal protective equipments like helmet, jacket, coveralls, and goggles. Provide shaded area for the workers to cool down. Second comes the direct people who deals with the workers, the supervisors. They should make sure that everything is available, the cold water, the necessary arrangements is in the work site. Be aware of common symptoms, always he should be observant. Allow more time for job, workers need to self-pace themselves, ensure plenty of shaded areas, and a midday rule is obliged. So as I told you in the starting, the Ministerial Law 365 for the year 2018 states that the midday break should be mandatory. From 12 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. the workers are not allowed to work outside in the sun during the time period of mid of June till September 15th, that is today. So that is the rule. So always we should comply for this. And if this rule is broken, there is fine. The fine can vary from 50 to 5,000 for a person, according to the inspectors that comes for your inspection. So now let's look at the risk assessment. The risk assessment should be done thoroughly in order to carry down a work. So first thing that you should do, who analyzes who will be at risk. Second one, what work you're doing, why are you doing it, when are you doing it, and how are you doing it. So all these questions should be specifically answered. If a work can be done at the night rather than doing it in the afternoon, why not? So all these questions, who, what, why, when, and how, should be specifically done in your heat risk assessment form, in order to make it clear to authorities that this work cannot be substituted. So now let's talk about the control measures. The first and basic control measure that you can do in the hierarchy of control is the engineering control measure. Engineering control measure, as in you can create a shaded area. You can create a shaded area for the workplace and give them enough and more drinking water. The shaded area can be insulated. It can be air conditioned so that they can come and rest at the regular interval of time, like say 1 hour, and their body will be cooled down and they can go back again for work. Next one is administrative control measure. You can have job rotations. Let's say one person is working outside and 2 people are working inside. We can substitute them in an interval of 1 hour so that one person is not exposed to to the heat for a long time, rather than they are splitting the problem in 3 ways. So that is what we can have, is job rotation. That is coming under administrative control measure, and necessary training should be given for them for that. Now, how much water should we be drinking? We know that we should drink 8 glasses of water per day, but let's ensure that to prevent dehydration, first, when you're about to go to work, please advise your workers that drink water at least 2 hours before work, like enough and more water. Second stage is that when going for work, drink water again, a bit more than what you need. So that is like, if you need water in this level, bit more, drink it so that you are going for work. And last but not least, when they're doing heavy works, every 15 to 20 minutes the rehydration process should be done. Even though they are not interested, this should be done, so in order to make sure your workers are safe. The next thing we can do is we can provide posters and awareness sessions to the workers so that they are aware about the risks that they are taking for their work. While when I say posters, you can give urine charts to them. The urine chart colors depicts different risks. The more darker the urine is, the more risk of the person is contracted with the problems, and the less darker, it's good for them. So always give urine charts in the washrooms, and so that they can analyze them and they can act accordingly to the situation. So now the preventive measures is like drink 2 liters of water every 2 to 3 hours, provide liquid and salt to compensate the body, drink natural juices instead of soft drinks that we find all over the market, add salt to meals to compensate for missing in sweat, avoid coffee, tea and soft drinks because the caffeine content in all these soft drinks, coffee, etc. can make the water retaining capacity less for your body. Where if you add salt to your food, the water retention capacity will be more. Avoid intense muscular exertion, take breaks from intense effort, and get enough and more sleep, at least minimum of 8 hours sleep when you have a tough work. Wear light clothes and keep your body clean and moist all the time. One other thing I want to say is about acclimation. Let's say one of the workers is going for a holiday for 2 months, and he is coming back after 2 months from this vacation. The person should not be directly put into work. Why? Because his body, when he goes out for 2 months for holiday, his body will not be the similar state like he was working in the sun before. So what he should do is about a process called acclimation. Slowly make his body compatible with the heat. Like let's say the first day he'll be working for 10 minutes in the sun. Let's say tomorrow he'll be working for 1 hour in the sun, and like that, like gradually make his body compatible with the sun, and it will take more than 14 days to do so. So that's why please make sure that people going outside for holidays are looked after and the acclimation process is done thoroughly. As I told you, PPEs are important. The cotton gloves, the helmet, and goggles should be given to them for their safety purpose, because they are the last resort. Use sunscreen. Sunscreens are provided in some companies around UAE for protecting their workers from the sun. And if there is any symptoms, please contact the emergency number, and the people should be aware about the emergency number, how to contact them, and when to do so. Last but not least, I have one point that I want to share to you. Use permit to work system. A worker should take permit for going to work outside, because permit to work is done when you are having a risky job in your background. So always permit to work in a specific amount of time should be given. Like let's say 2 hours permit to work under the sun should be issued to a person, and after that 2 hours he should be taken away from work. So always permit to work procedures can make a difference in your workplace. Last but not the least can be training. Training awareness sessions should be organized to people. We as an organization, SPSA, are organizing training sessions for fighting against heat stress. We have trained a lot of people in this topic. So let this be also like an awareness training session for you. If the managers, if the supervisors are seeing this session, please make sure that your employees are safe. And always you can consult us, call our office, consult us for any help that you need. We are always open to help. And I wish you all the best during this pandemic time and during this harsh time. I hope and I pray only for your safety. Always take care, stay safe. May God bless you all. Thank you very much for joining the session. It has been a pleasure. Thank you once again on behalf of my organization, Child Prevention and Safety Authority. Take care. Good luck. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Whew.